After the previous video of this format, a lot of you guys asked that we start a podcast, so here it is. We got an opportunity to talk to Ilya Kuvshinov, someone who probably doesn't need an introduction. He's a Russian-born artist who's currently living and residing in Tokyo. He's a prominent artist on Instagram and has a successful Patreon account where he shares his personal works along with the files for people to explore, which helps people understand his process. He recently participated in the creation of an anime movie called Birthday Wonderland and had a role as character designer / Sakon animation director, where he had the opportunity to create location settings, character sete, props, and where he got to learn a lot about the Japanese animation pipeline. He's currently working as the character designer on Ghost in the Shell SAC 2045, which has a spring 2020 release date. I'm sure he's also working on many other projects, which we might be able to learn about in this podcast. Welcome to the channel, Ilya. I'm really looking forward to this discussion, and hopefully we can get some insight into your experience in Japan as an artist and your various experiences with taking the dive into the anime industry.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
To start off, I think we could cover a few questions on the topic of art and drawing, but I don't want to stay on this topic too long because you've previously already talked at length in other podcasts on this, which if you guys haven't watched Ilya's podcasts on Art Cafe, I highly recommend them, and we will have links to those videos in the description. So the first thing I wanted to ask you about is there's this concept called resistance that a lot of artists experience, and looking at your Instagram and a lot of your personal work, you've basically mastered or seemingly mastered being able to overcome resistance, and resistance being kind of like the feeling of not wanting to work.
Yeah, I actually haven't heard the word before, but it actually made a lot of sense because yes, I work with it every day, and it's not going anywhere, so it's really hard to start doing something, it's start making myself work on something. And it's usually like for me, it's always just the tricks I used to trick myself to start working, because if you just start a little by little, you just open Photoshop and open the file, start sketching, you kind of starting to get into it, and then you just can't stop till you finish, right? So there's a lot of other tricks. So one trick is just start from the little things. If you looking at the job you need to do as like the whole, you're like, oh, this is the whole big illustration or new animation scene on the whole design. It's so big and scary. You will be too scared, to start. But if you cut it in the little things, like, open the software, open new file, do a little sketch, it's not so scary anymore, right? So it's easy to start with the little pieces. And the other trick I usually do is like, I'm just sitting in front of my PC, I open YouTube, I trying to trick myself that I'm gonna watch some videos, and like why I'm here in this podcast or something, maybe I just start drawing, and when you get to the flow, you just it's harder to start.
Yeah, so once you hit the flow, it's 5 hours later and you've gotten a bunch of work done.
Yes, but it's, I still fighting with it every day. It's not going anywhere. And, it depends on how tired you are. It's harder to do even that, even if you think like, I need to open the software, right? But no, I need to get to my workplace. I need to sit in front of the PC. I need to turn it on. Sometimes even turning on the PC, it's sounds in your head like really scary and hard to work. So there's some tricks, but sometimes even those are not working so good.
Yeah, a lot of times whenever I'm trying to sit down and do work, I'll end up standing up again, and I'll end up going to the kitchen and cleaning, or like I'll keep finding ways to avoid starting on it.
Yeah, like eating, or
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I'm trying to find other things, like I might end up on a video game or something like that. But eventually the pressure hits, and then I'm like, oh no, I have to get this done tomorrow.
Yeah. If the deadline is close, it's the best motivation to do anything. So yeah.
Yeah. So this next question I kind of want to expand on a little bit. I wanted to ask you about how important you think mileage is in developing drawing ability. But to add to that, I went through your Instagram and I scrolled all the way to the very beginning. And all the way at the very beginning of your Instagram, your art is still good. So that means there is something before then that you didn't post because you didn't just all of a sudden be good at drawing.
So actually, if you look at my DeviantArt, you can find like much more older works, like 2008 or something. So it's like 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and those are just people are commenting under those works and like, oh, this giving me hope because
Oh, really? I actually didn't know you had a DeviantArt.
yes, those
Okay.
doesn't look professional. Those doesn't look well educated. Those are like normal pictures like the anime fans would start to do without
Yeah.
knowing how to do that. So people like, oh, you were drawing like that sometime before. It makes me like hopeful about that someday I can do, I can be in industry and do professional illustration work. So yeah, but in case for me, I started drawing like studying drawing professional like 18 years ago at 11 years old. I was
wow.
in Russian academical school where we were drawing all the plaster heads, all the naturemorts, and like landscapes, portraits, sketches. Like we needed to do like 50 sketches a week and show it to teacher, and teacher wasn't so kind to us. And
wow.
yeah, it was a lot of hard work, and I hated drawing at the time because all we was doing is just copying stuff in front of us and nothing, interesting, nothing fun to do. And when I discovered anime and manga, I was like, oh, all these people are doing fun stuff, and I'm not. What I'm doing wrong. So yeah,
Yeah.
you can see in my Instagram, like I believe I started using Instagram in 2011 or something like that. Maybe it's 2012. On the time I had already had a job in a game development company, and I was doing, I was they were paying me to draw.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, when I started Instagram, I already started to working.
You're already professional.
Yes, but before that, I spent 11 years to just have this all this basic stuff, composition, colors, all the boring. So just you can say that my hand was used to draw, but at the beginning of the 2010 I wasn't good at drawing from my head. I haven't been good of drawing something that not in front of me, so I just started practicing this one. So I learned anatomy and how to draw the clothes on the body when it's moved, and like storyboarding and continuity drawings, like when you have a time when you need to think about the movement of the character and all of that. So I needed to spend a lot of time. So in the beginning of 2013 I decided that for practice, for getting my skills up, I will do I will spend 2 hours after work just learning new stuff, reading the book or watching the tutorials, and other 2 hours to practicing what I've learned. So like 4 hours every day after work, I was just sitting using my, workplace computer to get my skills up, and I would upload the results of my work like every day to the social networks.
Yeah, I see on DeviantArt there's a gap between a lot of your work between 2012 and 2014.
Yes.
And then there's a big improvement. So that's really cool. Do you think mileage is more important, or do you think trying to get the drawing perfect is more important?
Yeah, so in my case, I think the perfect way to get your skills better is first you learn something new, then you practice it. If you just learn without practicing, you will have the info about, like, you remember, how like the anatomy, whereas the muscles are. But if you're not practicing that, you will not get it right. Your hand will not get it right. If you just practicing stuff without learning new stuff, you will get really cool with what info you have. But if you don't get new info, it's not gonna go anywhere in other directions.
Yeah, and you'll stay the same basically.
Yeah, but we'll be cooler on the things you are doing right now, but it's not nothing new will magically appear in your skill set.
Okay. So I spent some years as an apprentice in like a traditional art gallery. From what I experienced, it seems like that world's sort of dying. I don't know if you had any experience with like the fine art world, but nowadays it seems like you can really just get your art out on social media instead of having to have a gallery. So what do you think made you post online as opposed to going out and selling art on the street or doing a gallery?
So difference between like the works in museum that you can go to, Louvre and see the works on the walls. All of those works, like usually all of those works, most of those works are, the commissions. So the guy with the money came to the artist and say, I need a portrait of my wife. Like, I need a portrait of my dog. I need this cool war thing I really love from the history. Like, take my money and please do that. So in the case of like 200 years ago, how would it happen? This person came to the gallery, he's seen the works of this master, of his studio, and he's like, oh, I want to commission him, right? And right now it is how the internet works. Like people to commission you, to ask you to do something for them, the anything like book cover or like commercial like illustration or comic or just draw their original characters. They need to find your works, right? Thanks to the internet, it's like really easy to find everyone's works. So you just put the link into your browser, you can see like all the portfolios and choose the guy you want to draw your wife or your dog or the word thing you want. For me, it's only difference like that. The galleries, when the artists just draw anything they like and then just put it there and maybe somebody would buy, it's not gonna work as better as commissions. So a lot of these masterpieces we were love and cherish so much, all the old paintings, like most of those are the commissions. So like Jaconda is not a commission, right? But there's a lot of other examples of the rich guy just asked to draw his portrait on a horse, and we'll love it.
Yeah, and then it ends up in a museum because it just trades hands.
Yes.
Through so many rich people, then they end up donating it to the museum or something like that.
Yeah, so for me it's kind of the same right now. So if you want to to have work, you need to put your work out, and on those time it was like galleries. Right now it's the internet, portfolio sites, or like social networks.
Yeah. Do you think the internet has upped the standard for what's considered good?
Like for example, 200 years ago we have this schools of the masters. So there's like this famous painter in the town, and he's like really good, and all the people who want to draw like him just go to his studio and help him and learn from him, but he can't see what's like Chinese masters doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they don't have all the means to just randomly go get ticket to the like ship to the China and check out what they are doing. So right now, thanks to the internet, everybody could see all other people's work, and and be inspired and be like, oh my god, this is so cool, this style is so interesting. No, it's not for the internet. Like I would never see any Japanese animation, right? I would never be so inspired by that. So I decide to move to Japan, and learn from the masters. So thanks to the internet, it's not about the standards for the good drawing. It's about seeing a lot of different drawing and decide for you which studio you want to join, from which master you want to learn. So internet is great.
Yeah. Something that I thought was interesting. This is something that happened to me when I was growing up. Like I've been drawing since I was 12, and it was like there were times where I would be drawing and I'd have like classmates huddled around me and they're watching me and they're like, "Whoa, how are you doing that?" Um, and it builds up sort of a confidence that you're good because everyone around you is like, "Wow, how are you doing that?" And then once you make that step and you post it on the internet and you start looking at what other people are doing on the internet, you don't get the same response. Like what happened to me is I actually posted my artwork onto 4chan, and they pointed out really well actually the flaws in everything I was doing. And it actually helped me become a better artist. But I think now, like the people from the old times that were doing gallery art and stuff like that, I don't think that a lot of them would survive on the internet.
Well, it's not like that because, like, for example, in my case, I started drawing from 11 years old, and our teacher was our worst critic. It was like sometimes it was just, to the, it's like she was trolling us. She
that's
was
kind of
like
good though.
saying like, you degenerates, can't you see like the proportion of this object? It's not like that. Are you stupid? What are you doing?
Different.
So yes, so we were critiqued so much. We were scared of the teacher. We were scared of the weekly 50 sketches, because we need to show it in front of every class.
Wow.
In front of every other person in the class, and teacher would be like, what is that? What is that?
Wow.
Are you stupid? What was your head? So it was like,
that's hardcore.
It was yes, we were met with the critique of everything we were doing to get us better.
In America, it's really, they just kind of pat you on the back and say, wow, good job. So you never really get a slice of reality.
Yeah, we were met with the reality from the young age, and we were crying on, we were like, no, I'm not stupid, I'm just a kid.
And that was a public school?
It was like the country was paying for us. So the thing about the school, it's like it's for free, but only if you can get into that. Okay. So they have this really strict exam to get there. So if you're not good at drawing at 10 years old, they will not get you there. But if you got there, the country paying for you.
That's really, I think that's kind of awesome. Like I wish more countries did.
It's Russia's really good points. So if you're like talented, if people see that you are trying to do something with your skill set, they would help you to study for free. So after this lyceum, from 11 years old till 17 years old, I get to the architecture college for free as well. Wow. So
yeah, here
it's really
here
great.
If you want to go to art school, it's pretty easy to get in, but you have to pay $40,000 a year to go.
Yeah, this is crazy. I heard about this, all the debts and stuff. So yeah, so different in Russia, and I'm really thankful. I'm really grateful to Russian government to do it like that, because I don't had any money when I was 11 years old,
right? So I kind of want to switch topics now. This channel is completely focused primarily on the Japanese animation process. So I really want to talk about your work in the anime industry. So I'm pretty excited to hear your insight. When you first started working on Birthday Wonderland, were you surprised about the learning curve in Japanese animation, like in terms of terminology and strange processes? And like, did you have to spend time studying before you went in, or did you just go in and then have people help you and teach you as you went?
Yeah, that's how it happened. I was like can I do this? Can I do that? I don't know how to do that, but can you please teach
Mm-hmm.
me? And they like, yeah, sure, okay. So there was a lot of things I didn't know about the animation. What kind of people do what, how many people do what, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I was learning on the way, sometimes doing like stupid mistakes, but everybody was so kind, and understanding and like helping me out. So it was a great experience. But sometimes when I seen your channel, when I seen your videos, I was like, oh, I'd love to have seen those before I get the job,
Yeah.
because for a year I didn't really understood what Enshitsu's guy is doing. He's like sitting here doing a lot of work, and I was like, what exactly he's doing? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's part of the reason we made the channel was because I wish this information existed 5 years ago because
Yes.
then I might have been able to learn it and then I might have been able to go to Japan and start working in a studio. But instead, I just ended up making a YouTube channel
But yeah,
to learn about it.
as you can see, like in my situation, it wasn't really that important, but it would save a lot of time. So I would not
Yeah.
ask people around like about some normal things everybody know, but it just didn't know in Western. Uh, you can watch Shirobako, and it's not still so not enough to understand what's going on there.
Yeah, Shirabaku actually showed me a few things, but most of what I learned, I had to just make friends with people that were in the industry and learn from them.
Yeah, here I have Shirobako figure here.
Oh, nice. Which character?
It's the Genga character. Oh my god, I forgot the name.
Emma or Emmy or something like that?
Emma,
Emma.
yes, Emma. Yeah, like all the info about the animation production process I got from the all the people around me in studio.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have time to read any book.
Mm-hmm.
I had the books.
Yeah.
I didn't just have time. So the one person, the Sakkan of the first part of the movie, just gave me this list of all the
The
roles in
notation. Oh, okay.
animation, like chart. Yes,
Okay.
chart. Like when to start, like with the script, well, the designs, the content, and stuff like that. And it was like really big chart. I put it in front of me, and I was looking to it every day, trying to like memorize. And I was still wondering like, what's Ancients doing?
Yeah. That's funny. So I did listen to your last podcast on Art Cafe, and you said something that was kind of motivating to me, I think. You said that we need more foreigners who can draw and speak Japanese to move to Japan. What advice do you have for people that would want to come join the industry?
Yes, first of all, you need to learn the language, because like Japanese companies are really willing to work with foreign animators, foreign designers, foreign stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just not a lot of animation studios have the staff who can talk English, and even
Yeah.
if they have staff who talk English, they use it for business opportunities, not to talk to animators. So it would be like the best for you to learn how to read and write and talk in Japanese. For example, if your drawing skills are not so good or your Japanese is good, it's enough to get your job on Doga or.
Mm-hmm. And once you have the job in Doga, then you will get the practice to get
Yes. So
climb the
it
ladder.
starts with your willing to work on Japanese animation, then to learning the language, and then you get the skills while you're working on that. Because there's a lot of other ways, like they have animation colleges in Japan where the real animators or directors help you learn all the doga, maybe starting a genga and stuff. But there's a lot of money and a lot of time, and studios don't have time to wait for you to learn how to do dogo. It's easier for them to just get you
Mm-hmm.
and teach you themselves, because
Yeah.
some of the animation studios has different approaches to that. So there's a lot of studios they don't have Doga stuff inside of the studio. They just outsource it to other companies, to other countries.
Yeah.
And for example, like if they outsource the Doga to other countries, usually have the company who doing that in other country with at least one person who can speak Japanese, who who doing all the management works. Like we take 100 cuts, we'll send it like next week and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's crazy how fast they can do it.
Yeah, they are good.
Like sometimes they'll get like a packet of cuts and they have to return it the next day. So I imagine their studio is insane. They're probably all pulling it all nighter and then trying to get it done. So would you say that it's more important for the people to learn Japanese than it is for them to really hone their drawing skills? Because it's really hard to learn two things at the same time.
Yes, Japanese is more important. Before Buzz the Wonderland, I was studying in Japanese language school for 2 years, and I had, as we talked before, I had all the information. I had all the basics, but I didn't had practice. I didn't had mileage talking and reading in Japanese, so I get all my practice while I was working on the project.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, sometimes I just didn't know what the people around me was talking about, so I was asking stupid questions. And unfortunately, my Japanese at the time was on the level when the people could explain difficult terms in more simple words, and I would understand that. So you need to at least have this.
Was there anything that you had to learn while you were learning the Japanese animation process that was kind of confusing?
You mean in terms of language?
No, just like trying to understand the purpose of some things. Like, I feel like it would be kind of confusing to find out that there's 3 different checks that happen on the same and stuff like that.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
My most funny story is about how I didn't know what Enshitsu is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the like one person doing all the Enshitsu for all the movie, Nagatomo-san, and he was like we had this desks really close to each other, like director, me, and the Enshitsu guy, Nagatomo-san, and I was like always like checking out what he's doing. I couldn't understand, and I was too afraid to ask.
Yeah, so he was doing the storyboards, right?
He was doing just the Enshitsu. So like for example, Kantaku was doing the storyboards. Then they will give it to layout. Then director checking out the layout, like maybe fixing some little details, like I want this expression to be like this. Then they give it to Nagatoma, who doing the Enshitsu, and he would fix the stuff like the layers, the movements of the camera, the objects is not working this well here and stuff. So he would fix all this technical stuff. So he was doing just that.
Just did the video on Enshitsu with Sakan checks, which would have been basically what Nagato-san was doing and what you were doing on Birthday Wonderland.
Yeah, we were like splitting the roles like really differently this time, but it works out like really well.
Did you ever get anything from, because he would check it first before he'd give it back to you, right?
Yeah, like my step was the latest. So let me explain how it worked on the Birthday Wonderland. So layout, director check, Enshitsu check, Sakan check, part Sakan. We have like 6 Sakans for the movie, like A, B, C, D, E, and F. And G was my part. And after Sakan check, there was Ilya check. So on the folders for the Genga, we have layout, Enshitsu, director, Sakan check, Ilya.
Yeah.
So they have my name just for my check. So, and what I was doing, it's not like Sakan, it's more was like Sakan. So I was just fixing the faces after everything, or just maybe some, if I wanted to fix the backgrounds details, background designs too. So anything I want to fix, I get all this like animation scene like the latest, after the first check, right? And then I will check them again latest. So like really helped out with the design looked like it was done by one person, thanks to that.
Yeah. So you said you did background design. Did you get to do any full layouts for the backgrounds?
Yeah, sure. I've done a couple of things like all myself, with not Doga, not
Yeah.
coloring, but I've done layouts, Ganga for some things, and I fixed a lot of backgrounds on layouts of other animators. And I have this in Buzzer Wonderland. I even have this 1 minute thing I've done myself, and in the end titles I have like all the things done by
Oh wow.
myself. So I tried a lot, but yeah, I haven't tried Doga or coloring.
Did you get to see any of the paintings that resulted from your layout?
Yeah, sure. We checked every process. So like how the Buzz Day Wonderland worked, it was like I was like the right hand of the director. So if he couldn't be there to check the things, I would check things myself. So we were checking all the backgrounds, we were checking all the rush check themes, we were checking everything. So yeah, I got lucky to be in every process. And yeah, about the Doga, I actually didn't done that, but I fixed a lot of those because at the end of the process, we had like this hectic schedule when we get like thousand of uh, not cuts, but frames of animation in a day. And the like if you don't have time, the things become looking like worse and worse, and we still need to get it to like theatrical animated movie level. So I needed to fix a lot of not just normal Ganga, but also with Doga, because sometimes they are it was fun to look at.
Before you worked on Birthday Wonderland, what was your kind of knowledge level of the Japanese animation pipeline?
Like yeah, it was like really blurry. So for example, I didn't know there's like, for example, in a lot of American animation, one person is doing just one character, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know how it was in Japan. So I was like really surprised. So like, for example, this person doing this, 50 cuts from here to there, and then like really different person with really different approach to animation doing the next scene. So they are trying to cut the scenes in like maybe where like something changed or with different characters, so it will not be looking like, oh, like something changed in animation, like suddenly they are moving differently. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they are doing everything. So all the backgrounds, all the camera works, like all the characters on the one thing, all the decided by one person. Not
Yeah.
decided, but roughly done by one person. And everybody's checking that. And I was like, wow, how do they make all the anime looks like it's still like the same anime? And yeah, thanks to they given me the role of the Sosakan, I realized like how you can
Like
do
that's
that.
how it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody is supervising.
So I had this question written down about authorship. And you said that you weren't quite sure what that was. I don't know if you've got an understanding of it or not, but it's basically like how when Hayao Miyazaki makes a movie, it's Miyazaki's movie, even though 50 people worked on it or 200 people worked on it. And similarly, Birthday Wonderland is kind of like, in a way, is your movie, along with the director's movie. So, in a way, you're kind of the auteur of Birthday Wonderland because it's all your style, a lot of your designs, a lot of your characters. That's not something that I think would be possible at Disney
Yeah.
or some Western animation studio. So, what do you have an opinion on like? Do you think there's pros and cons to each, or do you think one's better?
Yes, I totally think there's pros and cons to each. So, for example, that's why I like a lot of Japanese animation movies. For
Mm-hmm.
example, like Satoshi Kon.
Yeah.
You can feel the personal touch of the director. You can feel it's his movie. You can feel that it's not something to create a lot of money, to be a like
Mm-hmm.
hit, to be
Yeah.
something for all the family to enjoy, like Disney movies doing. Like all the Disney
Mm-hmm.
movies, they are kind of have these limitations that we need to sell really well. We
Yeah.
need to be a family movie for everybody to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy. You need to laugh here. You need to have a little, mushy time here in the end. You need to feel
Mm-hmm.
something here. You need to feel something there. So there's this, limits you need to put your new movie inside. But in the case with Japanese animation, there's a lot of stuff, like there's like manga became to the anime, and this manga is just crazy, no limits,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just the vision of the artist who created is just without any changes is right here, and it's like it's like being personal with the person on the meeting. You just talk to him in 2 hours and you really understand him, or talk to the crowd and everybody would like, yeah,
Yeah.
so you can feel more personal with the outer, how do you pronounce that, outer
The auto. I
creations
don't know how it's pronounced
than
either.
the, like, this uh factory creation of the we need to do
Yeah.
something that creating money. But of
Yeah.
course, in the factory creation approach of the Disney, of the Pixar, there's a lot of talents here. All of these people put in their hard work and ideas, so all the best ideas are survive, and all the
Yeah.
best stuff they have it
Yeah.
in
It's
their
more.
movie. If
Yeah. It's
it's
more
just
democratic.
one person who deciding, all the how the movies looks, how the movie moves, what the ideas he's talking about, all of this stuff is, if it's just one person deciding, there's some limitations of creativity. It's
Yeah.
limits, like the movie in creativity of the main guy.
Yeah.
So, yes, there's pluses and minuses in both, and it's hard to say which one is better. But I love that we have this Pixar movies, like high quality, fun
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and this animation, Japanese animation, like Kon Satoshi's Perfect Blue. It's like just scary and paranoia inducing
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's not for the kids, it's not
Yeah.
for the family, it's not pretty looking and stuff like that. So thanks to all the different approaches, we have all this, different stuff we could enjoy.
Yeah. I personally like Japanese animation and how they, especially in the movies, how they approach kind of like it's Miyazaki's film or it's Satoshi Kon's film. I'm sure the animators that work on that, there's probably two camps. There's probably people that are like, they feel really excited and honored to get to work on one of their films. And then there's probably the other people that think, like, oh, this guy's just a dictator and I can't. Like, I'm sure that some of them try to pitch ideas and then the ideas get stamped out
Yes,
because
it's
they're not.
probably like that.
Yeah. But maybe someday they'll get to direct their own movie. So you've been working on the new Ghost in the Shell. How has that process been different so far? I don't know how much you're allowed to talk about yet, but how is that different from? It looks like Ghost in the Shell is going to be it's CG,
Yes.
so it's going to be a bit different.
Yes, it's full CG. It's motion capture actors. So it really helps a lot to do action things really exciting and great. So all the
Mm-hmm.
camera movements, all the cuts when you want it, all the cool explosions and effects, and gunfights, it's looking really great
Mm-hmm.
in 3D CG.
So you're not you're not the Sakhan on this, because Sakhan's, I don't think there is I don't know anything about the 3D
So yeah, it's
process.
like it's really different. Like doing 3D animation, it's more like it's closer to the game development. So, for example, I'm doing the character designs for the new Ghost in the Shell series, and
Mm-hmm.
it's looking like it's really different of how do I approach character designs of the Birthday Wonderland, because
Mm-hmm.
I need for 3D CG, I need to explain to the modelers, to the people who doing 3D models, like how do I want the characters to look from all the angles, and
Mm-hmm.
it's close to the animation character design. We still need to draw all the angles, but like in more details. I need to show them
Mm-hmm.
which texture on which clothes I want. I need to explain to them like stuff like how I want to the the shadows are working on this surface, on that surface, and stuff like that. So it like I was starting like my professional career at the game development company like back
Mm-hmm.
in 2011, and it was really close to that. So I needed to work with not animators but with modelers. But
Yeah.
in 2D animation, I need to work with animators, so I need to explain to them what this character like face look like when he's angry, what the character
Mm-hmm.
face looks like when he is sad or happy. So I needed to draw a lot of examples of all the
Mm-hmm.
emotions of the you know expressions. But in the case of 3D CG for Ghost in the Shell, I was just doing the static models for modelers to get all the shapes right, and then all the animation is fixed. So it's motion capture, but it's still not used as is, because there's a lot of, for example, for in motion capture for Ghost in the Shell, we don't capture the gesture of the hands, so just the
Mm-hmm.
basic body movements, and we don't capture the faces and the mouths. So everything like that is done in
Oh,
by
it's
by
animated
hand.
by hand. Really? Okay.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
like it's really different. And not I was doing not just the character design for a Ghost in the Shell. I also doing I was also doing like stuff like, for example, is the picture on the wall in the Ghost in the Shell somewhere in the episode.
Oh, you designed them?
Yeah, they don't have time and money to render the photo inside of the picture, so I'm doing like I draw the photo myself.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of photos, a lot of pictures like posters in the Ghost in the Shell, I just drawn by me.
Has there been any like surprising differences in the 3D process versus 2D?
Now, when I started at Birthday Wonderland, I was like, maybe if I didn't really understood what's hard for animators to draw
Hmm.
and what's easy for animators to draw.
Uh,
So I was like, we need less details, but we need like
yeah.
more realistic silhouettes. And the thing with why my designs for Buzz the Wonderland was difficult for animators, why they needed me to do a so suck job and to fix all the
Hmm.
faces. That's because the mouth. So
Yeah.
eyes wasn't the problem, because like I was talking to like the Inoue-san, the animator who done like 200 cuts for our movie. I was talking to him like and he was saying like eyes is okay, like we have a lot of really detailed eyes in some of designs of our animations, but the mouth was a trouble, because the logic of my design, the mouth is always on the center on the face, and so you can't do this stuff when the character have like side face in a cut, and the mouth magically moves to the cheek. So they was like, oh no, how do we do that? And when the characters talking and at the same time changing the angle of their faces, like like looking at each other or something. And people were struggling with putting the mouth on the center of the face, and also there was lips.
Yeah, the style is very realistic, so the lips look 3D, even though they're just like 3 lines. So I'm sure they're not used to having to draw
So
like
yeah,
3D
and
lips.
in 3D CG like designs for Ghost in the Shell, you just you just done the model once.
Make it once.
Yes, and it's no problem to, you don't need to draw it all the time, all the
Yeah.
way. So for the Ghost in the Shell, I got more freedom with what let's talk about this one. So
Okay.
there is some limitations in 3D CG that like it's easier, sometimes it's easier to do stuff in 2D because you can lie.
You can distort.
Yeah, you can distort, you can do some tricks, but in 3D CG you can't do that. So for example, I'm doing this character with this in Japanese traditional kimono, and there will gonna be some movements for this character and some things that would be impossible to do in 3D CG, and they're like, no, we can do kimono here, please do like simple sweater and pants. And I was like, no, okay. So
Yeah, and I'm sure there's limitations on the facial expressions too.
not so much actually, because
Really?
they can do a lot of tricks with that, but it's important, faces. But if there's a character who moving in the scene all the time and it's just don't work with the geometry of his clothes, they better change it. So they still can animate all the long clothes, long hairs, but they need to do it like frame by frame in everything, and they just don't have money for that. So we needed to cut some idea, like some design ideas from that because of the limitations of the 3D CG. But other limitation of the 2D animation, it's like if there's too many details in the character, people would like, no, I will not, I don't want to animate this is crazy. But yeah, like Japanese animation design, character designs becoming more difficult and more and more difficult from year to year. And like, for example, I've seen this Sword Art Online, and they have so many details on some of the armor on the clothes, and there's an action theme where people are fighting with swords, with all the armor, with all the with all the detailed long hair, and I was like, oh my god, this is so crazy. If I would do Genga of that, I would just maybe it's easier to die right away.
Did you see the character designs for Violet Evergarden?
Yes. Like
the hair is crazy.
Yeah, only Kyoto Animation can do that, because there's not just a lot of lines in here, there are also a lot of rules of where the line is, like you can see the line, and when it becomes the colored line, when it becomes the light, when it becomes the shadow. And I couldn't believe this is like TV animated series with this kind of details. But the thing is, they still have this simplicity of the faces that helps a lot. So for example, it's much easier to draw just 100 lines than to draw a face
like a perfect face
with the geometry like it's in 3D space. So there's I was like, when I was designing Buzz the Wonderland, I was like, oh, we need less lines. And then I realized we need the faces to be less 3D. And I was like, oh, that's where the difficulty is. Not in the time you spend in how many lines you draw. It's in time you spend to get the structure of the face right. Yeah.
Is there going to be an art book for Birthday Wonderland?
Oh, you can buy it right now.
Okay. You have to buy it from Japan.
Yeah, and yeah, they have a lot of like 95% of all the art book is like just my designs, my my Sakam works, my sketches and stuff, and there's a lot of my comments here and there, and those are sometimes fun, but it's all in Japanese. I hope they like Baza One Land is gonna be released in a lot of countries this year and next year. So I hope some company could could translate the book for us. For
Yeah,
people
well,
to
if
enjoy
not,
it too.
there's a bookstore that has locations in the U.S. called Kinokuniya.
Yeah, they have it. They have it.
They have it, yeah. So there you go. If you guys are listening and you want the book, you could probably find it at Kinokuniya, which I know there's locations in the U.S. So it's going to be in Japanese, but it's still cool to look at. So.
Oh, also like about the books. Okay, let me promote my new book here. So here's my new. I'm so sorry. Here's my new personal illustration artwork collection called Eternal. It's gonna be out worldwide in November 15 on your local Amazon, and it have English inside. It's not just Japanese. It's English and Japanese, and yeah, like it's just the illustrations, but sometimes there's a text and you can actually read that, and please look forward to it. Called Eternal. Thank you.
So you've got you've seemed to have developed a specific style with your drawings. Do you think that was initially inspired by a specific artist or anime?
Yes, I believe it's the mix of the things I love. So it's like it's Gon Satoshi's Paprika and
Yeah, I see a lot of
Mamoru's,
paprika
yes,
in
Ghost in
that.
the Shell. And there are also games, like I'm really big Persona series fan, so
Oh yeah.
I think you can feel some Persona touches in how I draw the eyes maybe. So it's like I believe it's just a mix of everything I love.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you were to tell people how they could develop their own style, would you say that just to do that, just kind of take
Yeah, it's not like
things you like?
it's more about, like, for example, you found this beautiful illustration on the internet and you feel something, when you looking at it. And if you're an artist, it would help a lot to study why you feel this way. That maybe it's the shape of the eyes, maybe it's the colors, maybe it's the beautiful composition or using of the lines. If you try to understand it technically, how it works, like why your heart was so captured by that. If you're like, oh, that's all about, like, all about the story of these pictures, not the style.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different examples, but if you just look at that, you will not learn anything from that. So you should try to understand, break down what's in there for you.
Do you think I saw that you used to do a lot of fan art?
Yeah.
I think you do some still. Do you think that helped a lot? Kind
Yes.
of learning how to draw.
Yes.
Like that?
So for example, in animation, all the animators have these character sheets, right? Character designs.
Yeah.
They have this
Sete.
character in different angles, different expressions, and they draw in the scenes with this character by, like, always looking at this character sheets, trying to understand, like, how this character would look like in this angle, in this situation. So doing fan art, it's close to that. You're looking at somebody's character sheets, looking at somebody's illustrations, looking at somebody's drawings, and trying to like understand how the structure of the face works for this artist, why he's doing that, how, like, he simplifies these shapes, how he going on with these angles and stuff like that. So actually, yeah, doing not storyboards, doing layouts and Genga would really help a lot to grasp how other people look at drawing the characters.
Yeah. Yeah, right now we're doing on my website sakugafoundry.com, we're doing a challenge right now to have people draw off of character sete. and it looks like some people are actually doing it, and it seems to be really good practice. There's a really good website called setedreams.net.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. For people wanting to practice drawing.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah. When you say that, I realized like drawing the character sheet yourself will help you a lot to understand yourself, how your characters will look like in other
exactly.
angles. So it's like really good practice.
Yeah.
I was doing this like for years now, character designs, different angles, expressions. And yeah, it looks like it helped me a lot to understand how I want my characters to look like from different angles.
Yeah. Do you think you improved in drawing after spending so much time on an animation production?
Yes, I believe, like, thanks to the Birthday Wonderland, my skill set. It's like I wanted also to talk about like the skill set for animation and skill set for example, for the animation layouts or Genga or character design even, and skill set for illustration is really different skill sets. So for example, thanks to Birthday Wonderland, my 2D animation skill set got much better, but you can't see that in my illustrations. That's it's like the approach is so different. Like you kind of doing the same thing, right? You're drawing the character, right? How can it be so different? But it's really different. So yeah, I get better at doing Sosakan work, at doing designs, and like thinking about the shapes, thinking about the simplifications, thinking about angles, doing all of this related stuff. But it's not like my illustrations became better.
Yeah, maybe you got faster though at doing the first sketch.
Yeah, you can say I became faster because, like, especially at the end of production when we needed to fix a lot of things really fast and they still should look good. It's like it was the best practice for me to to decide on what do I do first, how do I do it faster, how do I do it cleaner, and there's that. Yeah.
Okay, so now I kind of want to switch topics again because our channel is focused on Japanese animation, but a big part of getting into the Japanese animation industry requires proficiency in Japanese. So I think it'd be interesting to hear a bit about how you transitioned into Japan and your experience with studying the language. Surely you had to get in on a visa. So like, how did you get into Tokyo and start living there?
So it all started with me just trying my luck. On the DeviantArt, I've done an illustration of the girl in Shibuya. And there was one comment from the Russian person who said like, "Oh, it's so close to my work." And I was like, "You working in Japan?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Oh, wow. Can we talk more about that?" And yeah, and she basically told me like she's have the different situation. She's married to a Japanese person, and she have just like the family visa. How do I say that?
Yeah,
but
I think that's right.
She said like a lot of her friends came to Japan to Japanese language school and for a student visa. And in a student visa, you can spend up to 2 years in Japanese language school. And all you need to do is like 4 hours a day. You need to go to the school and learn language and basically just be in classes. And I was like, "Wow, okay, I need to try that." So after my last job in Russia had finished, like I was directing the 24 episodes motion comic when it was finished, and I talked to this Russian person on the DeviantArt. I decided I need to try to get to the language school and see what it, where it could get me. And so, yeah, my first 3 months in my Japanese language school was on a tourist visa. And next 2 years was in student visa, so it was roughly 2 years, 3 months in a language school for me. And after that, Keiichi Harakantaku found my first illustration collection art book in the store and decided to ask me to work on his project. And yeah, that's how I get
the
there.
work visa.
Yeah, this book you can also get it on Amazon. It's also have English inside. So yes,
what's the
check
book
it out.
called?
It's called Momentary.
Yeah, I heard there's an artist visa, but I don't actually know anybody that got in on an artist visa. I think most people do that route where they go to school and then they get a job and then they can just get a work visa.
Yeah, artist visa is for, for popular actors. For example, if like Keanu Reeves want to live in Japan, he can get artist visa. People like me is not the same.
So, do you have a bachelor's degree?
The problem was I have the bachelor's degree, but in architecture.
Yeah.
When we were trying to get me a work visa, it couldn't work out because everybody in the what's the place when you get visa?
The embassy?
Yes, it's not something like that, right? The people in the embassy was like, this is architecture and you want to go to animation, we can't give you a work visa in the like different space. Yeah. And I was like, but in architecture college, I was doing a lot of drawings, I was doing a lot of landscapes, I was doing a lot of even sculptures, and they was like, but this is still architecture and this is animation. And so it was a lot of trouble to get me the work visa.
So it would be better to have a bachelor's in drawing or something?
Yes, if you have, for example, like art college would work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but you think people, like, if you didn't have a bachelor's degree, do you think you still would have got your work visa?
No. It's really troublesome to do it like that in Japan.
So we should add that to if you want to work in the Japanese animation industry, first get your bachelor's degree, then learn Japanese.
Yeah, if you want to work in Japanese animation while being in Japan, yes, you need to have your visa problems done too.
Sorted.
Yeah, sorted too. But you can work as a freelance animator just with the language,
Yeah, there's a lot of production assistants, which I think you're in your Art Cafe podcast, you're calling them desks.
Yes.
Production assistants that would they go on Twitter and they actually hire people because part of their job is to find if there's a gap in the Genga, like they can't get all the work done. The production assistants will contact people online.
Yes. So if you want to be in Japan and work in Japanese company, it's not just the language. You need to get your visa all sorted out, and it's much harder actually.
So I'm getting to the end of our questions here. I wanted to do a section for the patrons of the channel. I thought this would be a good opportunity for them to kind of interact more directly with the channel and get to ask you some questions.
Sure.
So Gentle Fan is wondering if you could discuss the differences in creating character designs from a book versus adapting them from a series like Ghost in the Shell.
So Buzz the Wonderland is based on the child's book and adapted into a screenplay for the 2 hours animated movie. But the thing is, the director, the Keiichi Hara, have these visions for the characters. So when we talk about like what he wants the characters to look like, he already have some, maybe blurry, but the vision of like how Akane would look like, how Chi would look like, and she would show me maybe the photos of the actresses. Like I would like Akane to look like this actress, but younger. you know, I want to she look like this actress, but with long hair and stuff like that. So when he was, reading the script, he already like imagined stuff in his head, even done some sketches. So for the main characters, it was like that. But then there was a character, there's crazy amount of characters in Buzz the Wonderland. It's like more than 100. And some of those he don't even thought about, like how do he want them to look like. So it just like,
so you can just make it up.
Yeah, like there's the characters who want to be there and doing this. How do you think he would look like? And I do sketches, and he was like, oh, this is cool, yes, let's do that. And there was some characters in Buzz the Wonderland that was really fun to design. So for example, there's this bad guys, the Zangu and Dropo, and they are like, really mystical creatures. You can't say who they are. Like it's like, it's not a cat, it's not a a raccoon, it's not a something like that. It's like something really unique. And for the Dropo, for example, I've done like maybe 20 really different design sketches, and the director just chose one. I'm like, oh, I like this one.
Oh wow.
So there's a lot of creativity there, because there was some place for me to put something I really want to see myself. Because like it's book, it's maybe it have illustrations, but it's like child's book, so illustration is really simple. So we needed to come up with some design that would like be interesting to look at, that would help the story, that would like, so it was so much fun to do in Buzz the Wonderland designs, because we can be creative in any way. Like doing the designs for the characters of established series everybody get used to, everybody love to, is like is a actually great honor. Ghost in the Shell is one of my favorite animes of all time, and it's not a lot of pressure actually, because it wasn't a lot of pressure for me, because first of all, I love the Ghost in the Shell, and I have this perfect images of my Bato, of my Motoko, of my Togusa. And also the two directors also had the clear vision of how they want the new Motoko to look like. So there was a lot of limitations about like we don't need to oh yeah, we have some new characters in Ghost in the Shell when I get some creative freedom. So yes, I can say working on Ghost in the Shell's character design wasn't so about the creativity, just doing the best version of the character that could suit the story, with the limitation of, okay, this is the girl with the like wild short hair, and she's like really good at fighting and stuff like that, when I'm talking about it right now, it's kind of the same. It's just it's more about differences between the genres. So Buzz the Wonderland is the fantasy for the kids, and the Ghost in the Shell is science fiction for the young adults, or teens. And we need to be in to be in these limits. But for Ghost in the Shell, I still designed like maybe not 100 but 60-70 characters, and there's a lot of really unique and interesting and new characters. And there was some characters when the director was like, do it like you want.
Oh, that's cool.
So there will be some new character in Ghost in the Shell. Everybody would be like, oh, this is something they are just said, just do the characters you love to do, and there's character like that. So maybe it's not so different actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that I would imagine there would be pressure just because fans get kind of up in arms if if things look different. But I like the Makoto design.
Thank you so much.
I haven't seen the response yet, but like on the teaser, um, it seems like a split in
Yeah,
the reception.
the new Ghost in the Shell is still Ghost in the Shell, but it's different. And I just hope everybody would, patiently wait to see the final series because the
Mm.
characters are really interesting and deep. The stories are really great, and the action things. Yes, action things
Mm.
are just incredible. So yes,
I really like how there's a new, like they're letting you kind of take the style in a new direction in Birthday Wonderland and in Ghost in the Shell. Like uh, the stuff that you're working on doesn't look the same as everything else. Like I think right now everything looks similar to like Sword Art Online or um, kind of cuter like Kyoto animation style stuff. And you're kind of going a little more realistic with your designs,
yeah,
so it's kind of fresh.
it's actually makes sense because the simpler the designs, the easier it for animators to animate. After working on Boss Day Wonderland, I realized like doing the, you know, structured 3D like faces is the nightmare for the animators. So I like, yeah, it's all makes sense.
Yeah. Next question is from MKA. He says, how was your experience in Japan so far, and do you have any tips for people who would like to work in Japanese animation?
I really love it here. So the thing is the in Japan in Japan's animation industry, the creators are really cherished. So, for example, in a normal Japanese company, you need to get there, like 8 in the morning. If you get late in the 5 minutes, you will be, prosecuted,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't listen to the music while you're working. You know, there's a lot of these limitations. You need to stay like for 12 hours. You don't need. You better not take any holidays and stuff like that. But in Japanese animation industry, if you're a creator, if you're animator, they are okay with your schedule. For example, we have this animators who could come like in the midnight and stay
Mm-hmm.
work till the morning and then get back, and everybody would be okay with that.
Wow.
So yes, the thing is, there's not a lot of money here, but if you are the person who love it, who willing to be there to work with us, you will be cherished.
Mm-hmm.
The people would really grateful for you to help out with all the animation projects. So yes, this is a pleasant experience, but you know as we were talking before, language is you need
Mm-hmm.
to talk, you need to speak Japanese on a good level for people to understand you, for you to understand them, and to stay here for a long period of time.
Yeah.
You Yes, you need to have your visa.
Last question is from Yumeki. He says, what was your thinking process when making new character designs for Birthday Wonderland? And how many drafts were made before it was finalized? And how many ideas were scrapped?
Yeah, there was some characters that are was difficult to design. Not just it was like hard, it was not easy for me to find the perfect character that to understand the vision of the like director. So for example, we've done a lot of Akane's designs, and yeah, we're happy with the final one. But with in Akane's situation, I was like doing her haircuts, and because of my illustration are kind of fashion oriented, my personal illustrations, I was giving her haircuts like she's model for the magazine. And Hara was like, no, 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 we need natural
Or more realistic,
haircut, yeah, more
relatable.
realistic haircuts. And I was like,
Mm.
where do I get that? And yes, and I was just riding a train and check it out, like the haircuts of the people, and oh, okay,
Mm.
this one looks normal.
Mm.
And yes, like two main characters, Akane and Chi, like we spent a lot of time just on their haircuts. So, for example, for the Chi's character, I still wanted her to have short hair, because she's like the strong character who's always going to the other countries to check out new things, to buy things for her shop. So I was like thinking about, like, it would make sense for her to have short hair, because you need to be on all this long uh you know plane flights, and maybe sometimes you don't get to shower and stuff like that. If you're moving a lot, the hair got in your way. But Hara's vision was like, no, I want her to have long hair, because Akane don't really like her and maybe think she's a witch. So witch should have long hair. And I was like, okay, we have long hair, but let's do her bangs. Well, let's do the fringe. Hara was like, no, we need to show her forehead. And I was like, no, I love bangs so much. And yes, there was stuff like that. But there was, and the characters, for example, there's this location where it's always winter. There's location, there's just mountains and rocks. And it was really fun to thinking about, like, what kind of people would we live in here, what kind of people would be living there, if this person doing this, how do we look like? And like coming up with background characters are also like a lot of fun. But yeah, if we're talking about new as new, like how do I say it? We don't have any like manga, before that. We don't have any illustrations before that. It's like new. It's like not about what people would like to see. It's more about how the character should look like, to so you could look at this character and realize, like, what kind of character is that. Is he's energetic? Is he's always sad? Is he's always happy? Not simple like that, but there was some really fun moments of me realizing, like, how the clothes of the person could talk a lot about his traits, character traits. So yes, I could say it's fun, but sometimes you need to spend some time to find this perfect solution for your problem. So yeah, like, character design is solving a problem. Yeah, maybe storyboards is solving the problem too, and layouts too, because we have these limits. We need to show stuff the best way it could be shown. So everybody, and in Japanese animation studios, are just trying to solve their problem, and it's
Yeah.
fun. It's like
So
playing a puzzle game.
yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. I want to eventually be an Inshutsu, so that's like my long-term goal. I missed a question earlier that I wanted to ask you,
Okay.
but I think this would be a good last question, anyways. I looked at your Patreon and you have a goal on there for 3,000 patrons, and you said with that support you can create an independent animated series. I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you if you could talk more about what that might be if you reach that goal.
So yeah, the goal is not for 3,000 people being there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Goal is more like to be sure to always have enough to support the project. So it's in the working, and I really hope you could see it in a couple of years.
Yeah,
in the
that
best
sounds really
in the
cool.
best case situation.
I think if anyone could accomplish that, I think that you could accomplish that because you have a lot of big follower base.
Thank you.
If you need people to work on it, if you start working on it, I've got 13,000 subscribers that want to be animators.
That's the great
So
news. Yeah,
if,
and the thing is, if you work for me, I don't need Japanese. You can talk to me in English, so maybe it would help.
if maybe if you get that project started, we can do another episode and we could talk about how people might get involved.
Like, we're hiring. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. All right. Well, that's it for the questions that I had. Was there anything else you wanted to say in this podcast, or?
Yes, I wanted to say thank you again because I found your channel, and the videos are great. Helped me understand much more clearly, like all the animation process. And also I wanted to say thank you for especially for the storyboard videos about like how you show like the like white out all this
the notation episode.
Yeah, notations. It's helped me a lot because I'm working on the storyboards right now for the some project I couldn't talk about, and I was like, oh, this is really helpful. So I saved it on my phone, and when I'm doing storyboards, I use those. I use the notations you created.
Feels really cool. So that's really awesome.
Yes, what you're doing is really great and helping out a lot of people. So please never stop, and I really hope your what you want to achieve are everything is going to be as you want it. You said you want to be in Japan. Yeah, please come to Japan. Let's talk here.
I'm trying to make it happen. Yeah, thank you so much for being on this channel. It's kind of shocking to have you on this channel because we're so small. So I
hope your channel will be much bigger, because I sent your videos to all of my friends who was like, how what's that, how does this work? And I was just check out this video. This is like really easy to understand. He's like, okay, cool, now I know.
Yeah, we're kind of boring when we talk, but hopefully the information is good enough for people.
No, like if you're really interested, you don't need to be entertained. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
If you're really interested in topic, you just get it all the information inside you, trying to remember. So when I was watching your videos, I was like, okay, let's get back to 15 seconds, watch it again. Okay, 15 seconds, watch it again. Okay, now I get it. So,
there's a lot of information. Our videos are dense.
Yes.
So
I needed to stop and to read all the information on the screen because it was like 1 second. So I think you're doing a great job with that. So please don't worry about it not being so entertaining as like,
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot. I hope I get to talk to you again.
Thank you.
This concludes our second podcast on the Striving for Animation channel. We hope you enjoyed it, and let us know in the comments if you'd like to see more content like this. If you haven't been to our affiliated website yet, please check it out. SakugaFoundry.com is a growing community of artists and animators who discuss Japanese animation, work on monthly challenges, and share their work. The site is free and ad-free and supported by the revenue from this YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to check out all of our other videos which go into detail about the Japanese animation pipeline. Also, a huge thanks to all the Patreon supporters who make this content possible.